What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the top high school wide receivers in the country and compared their route running to some of the best NFL wide receivers in the NFL, okay? So we're going to talk a lot about just some of the similarities, some of the differences, and what makes an elite wide receiver at the NFL level, and what is the difference between an elite wide receiver at the high school level from an NFL guy, okay? So I hope this video gives you guys some value, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver or a quarterback for that matter, and you guys want to train with us, check out that very first link in the description below. We are coming to 9 different states this offseason, or 9 different cities, I should say, for 9 quarterback and wide receiver training camps. We also have DBs at these training camps to be doing live one-on-ones, live 7-on-7, and positional detailed work. Spots are going to be limited at these camps, fellas, because we're keeping it small. Only about 10 to 12 guys per specific position group, because we want to actually take the time to develop you. We have you for 2 days, 8 hours total. So if you guys are local to Tampa, Florida, Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, or Los Angeles, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to one of our camps to help your guys' skills improve, take your skills to that next level. So very first link below, great opportunity for you guys to come out with us and get better. Let's get started with this video. So we're looking at this route here first. This is CJ Williams. He's a receiver out of Modern Day High School. And the one thing I want to talk about is this is a great release idea. This is a great route. Just there's one specific thing you could do here to make it better. And you guys should be always trying to identify that. When he comes off that line of scrimmage, this is called a diamond release, right? So we're running a diamond release here. We want to run a diamond release when I have an inside shade DB who's pressed up, and I have to run a slant route because we can't obviously try to cross his face because he's going to get hands into me, reroute me completely. I want to attack the outside. My goal is to get his hips to flip like he does because I'm selling vertical with my shoulders, my hips, my stride. Everything about this route is correct, but the one difference that you see from guys in high school to guys at college and the NFL level, not even necessarily college all that often, but mainly the NFL, the guys who are some of the smoothest route runners in the game, is they eliminate time spent at the top of the break, right? So you see when CJ comes off here and he makes this break, great job being sudden. He's cutting in stride. He's committed. We got this DB to turn his hips, but DBs are taught to work on their recovery speed. How quick can they open up their hips? How quick can they get back onto a break? Are they going to speed turn? Are they going to open up their hips? But they all work those situations. So if we can get them to commit to a route and I eliminate any kind of wasted motion at the top of my route, that DB will not be able to make a play. He will not be able to recover because I did my job. It's not about what the receiver does right. It's about what the receiver, or it's not about what the DB does right. It's about what the receiver does wrong. So what am I doing wrong to allow him to be able to recover? Because he's playing a guessing game, and he should be guessing wrong every single time. So when CJ makes this break, you see how he breaks, but then he takes those extra couple steps, those like extra 4 steps right there. That's what gives this guy time. What we should be focused on is as soon as you hit that cut, you should be driving off of that cut leg, pushing off that inside arch, and opening up this hip to get back on that 45. And if you guys can do that, that DB does not stand a chance. If I could get him to commit his hips and turn this far to a fade, and I eliminate any kind of wasted time at that break, I should win this route every single time. Now let's watch this full speed. Now we're going to take a look at a route from Elijah Moore, and he does kind of a similar release, actually the exact same release, but he's able to get out of it in 1 step or maybe 2 steps, and you see how much more separation he has. It's not tight coverage. So when we come off here, again, inside shade DB, have to run a slant. Let's set him up outside with this diamond release. So Moore, when he comes off of here, he's going hard. 1, 2, 3, and it's, again, same position that CJ got that receiver or that DB to turn. Hips and shoulders are committed. He's thinking fade, and we pop this thing off right on the 3rd step, right? We're here, 1, 2, 3. Now, the only difference is when we cut off of that 3rd step here, you see how he's pushing off of this cut leg. He's driving to open up those hips, and he's out of that break in 2 steps. He's already accelerating down on this line, and the DB hasn't even turned his hips yet. That's how quick we need you to get out of the breaks. That's the difference, fellas. That's the difference between those high school elite wide receivers and those NFL wide receivers who run those great routes and are able to get a ton of separation. Now, why do we even talk about this? Why do we stress on this? And I've touched on this a little bit in a video yesterday, is that if you're a guy who's maybe not that 5-star, 4-star recruit, you don't have a ton of offers from everywhere, there's always room to improve, right? There's so many guys that will sit there and be like, oh, I'm good on my route running. Oh, my press releases are good. I need to just work on this. No, you got to work on every single aspect of your game, because I'm showing you guys 5-star recruits that have offers from anywhere. They go to any school they want to go to. And I know a lot of you probably want to get to that level, and they still have things that they need to improve on. So you're not that good. You need to always improve. You need to always be working on and sharpening your skills to get better. You can never get complacent, because that's not going to take your skills to that next level. You always have to be focused on the details, and you always have to be trying to do more and run a crisper route. Focus on the details. The details are everything, right? Just like this route, this is the difference between that guy who's at the highest level and that guy who's about to play into a college level. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job bursting to the outside and eliminating wasted time at the top of that cut. Okay, so now we're looking at this router. This is kid Kyler Casper out of Arizona. This kid is crazy. Comes from an NFL family, like runs insane routes, big kid, 6 foot, whatever. But again, and I want to show you how he's able to drop into this break, super explosive. And then we're going to be showing a route from Amari Cooper and how Cooper, the main difference between this is the acceleration out of the break. So let's talk about it. Let's show this thing full speed. He's going to be running a comeback route. So great job selling vertical, getting that DB off the platform, and then dropping this thing off suddenly, right? That's what you have to do. That's the name of the game, right? There are 3 phases to every route. You got the stem, you got the break point, and then the make or break situation when you are facing a talented DB is the acceleration point. So I think if this is a more talented DB who's got better recovery speed, can get out of his breaks a little bit quicker, he might make a play on this ball, because let's talk about it. So he's coming off here, does a great job selling fade, no indicators on his route, but you see how this DB is able to recover simply because when we go out of this break, we snap this thing down and then we get stuck because we pop up. We're not concerned with driving out of this route. And those are the little details that will make or break you as a wide receiver, you guys, because now he did everything right? He sold vertical. We got this DB to turn his hips. That DB does not want to get beat, especially if you're a bigger wide receiver and you're 6'3". You're already a vertical threat off the line. So we just got to make sure I have no indicators with my pad level and I'm staying in stride. And that's exactly what he does. And when he drops his thing down, he drops his hips into the break. He's out of this thing, but it's just we stop. That's the only problem. We want to make sure that we accelerate down this thing so that quarterback can put the ball over here. And again, the quarterback's mainly throwing it to him, but we want to make sure that I'm driving out of this break and I have that timing beforehand with my quarterback. It's not something you can just do. You got to work that with the quarterback timing-wise to know, hey, tell your guy, hey, I'm accelerating out of this break. I'm getting out of this break fast, so meet me with the ball. Meet me down. You could put that thing, if it's a 15 back to 12 comeback, you could put that thing on 12. So now let's play this thing full speed one more time. And when he breaks this thing down, again, great hip drop, great job selling vertical. But now let's look at this route from Amari Cooper and let's talk about the differences with this, okay? So now Amari Cooper's running this route and you see it's the same drop, but now what does he do? He's accelerating out of this break. He is driving out of this break. So again, same thing that Casper was doing, selling fades, selling vertical, good pad level, good eyes. And then you see the hip drop, no indicator with the hip drop. He's dropping his hips violently, just like that Casper kid was doing it. Again, he's a very, very talented receiver. I like that Casper guy a lot. But when we come out of this break, that's what makes or breaks it when I have one of the best DBs in the world covering me. We cannot just cruise. We cannot just stop right here and then let him recover because he knows he got beat. That DB knows that, oh, okay, I got beat on this comeback. I got to go. I got to get downhill. I got to drive as hard as I can to make a play on that ball. If I accelerate out of the break, all I'm doing is widening the distance with the DB. Think of it as like a race back to that ball, and that's exactly what Cooper does. He drops into this break and he's pumping those arms. He's accelerating back to the ball because as fast as you run out of the break is the more distance we can gain from that DB. But you have to do the first things right, which is what in that example of Casper and this example of Amari Cooper, they both do. They both sell vertical. They both drop their hips violent. But Cooper is accelerating. We got to make sure that we accelerate out of every break, run a complete route with phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of the route. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job bursting up here, selling fade, no indicators, violent hip drop, and accelerating out to run a complete route. So now we're looking at this route from Evan Stewart, and I just want to talk about how I personally think Stewart's route, it's a different route. This is more like a stop route. That was more like a curl. But I just want to talk about the hip drop, right? So you see how this NFL wide receiver here, I feel like the route Stewart ran was a little bit better simply because it was a more violent drop, right? So let's talk about it. I want to show this route first. You see how when he drops into this thing, he snaps it down, but it's not like a violent change of direction. It's not like he's putting the brakes on right now. And you see how a talented DB like this is able to break on this route, and he's able to have to make a highlight reel catch. It's not like he was wide open, right? So let's look at this rider from Evan Stewart. He's the kid who's committed to Texas A&M, 5-star recruit. Watch how violent he drops into this break, right? He's coming up here, violent. And you see how much more separation he's got than that other receiver that we just took a look at because of how violent he is with his hips. That hip drop right there, if you guys are at the high school level and you don't have that violent hip drop down where you're dropping your butt, bringing your chin to your knee, you're not going to be that explosive of a route runner. That is something that we have to translate to the next level. If he doesn't drop his hips violent, he gives that DB time to recover. Because if we're slow at the top of the break, the DB is going to be faster than us at the top of the break. So that violent hip drop, fellas, is something that we absolutely need. So I love this rider from Stewart. I think Stewart is incredibly talented, probably the best route runner coming into college this year, I feel. So him dropping his hips violently like that goes to show that that's something something that's going to translate no matter what level of football you're at. Imagine if you're a youth wide receiver and you can master that snap down, a high school wide receiver, you could master that. Going into college and the league after that, that has to apply. You're no longer beating the drum. You're no longer slowing down and then making a break and controlling your tempo, as some people like to say. You were dropping violently. You were trying to be explosive with your routes. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job selling fade. Great job bursting this guy to bail off of there and having that violent hip drop. And then again, you see right here, a little bit slower of a hip drop, maybe not the most violent thing in the world, gets that DB to be on his hip and in a chance to make, or in a position to make a play on that ball. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as I can. I always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you guys are local to one of those 9 cities that we talked about before, Tampa, Florida, Houston, Phoenix, Newark, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles, check out that very first link below. We'd love to have you out to one of our camps. I'd really consider it a clinic simply because we're not going to have that many guys out there. We're really going to take the time to develop each athlete, a lot of one-on-one coaching, and on every single rep, you are going to be coached. That's the thing that I want to get across. So check out that very first link below if you guys are interested in working with us. I'll see you guys next time.